The ability to travel at short notice is an important part of a presidential work schedule. A state visit in Kinshasa, Congo, a summit in Rome, Italy, a stopover in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, a quick meeting in Kisozi, Uganda. President William Ruto, as of May 2024, has made nearly 60 foreign trips, majority using Kenya's presidential jet, the HARAMBEE 1. HARAMBEE 1, Kenya's most vital, most protected and well-maintained aircraft, is equivalent to America's Air Force One, owned, maintained and run by the Kenya Air Force.
Very good morning from Kenya 01, established on the NS runway 04.
Good morning to you, Kenya 01.
Whenever this plane is carrying the president, it uses the call sign Kenya 01.
Kenya 01, wind calm, runway 04, clear to land.
That land runway 04, Kenya 01.
The presidential jet is a symbol of sovereignty and power. While world leaders and heads of state and government arrive at regional and international meetings on massive 4-engine planes, others, like our President William Ruto, travel on smaller and older jets or fly commercial. Presidential planes are one of the perks of holding a country's top post. Kenya is one such country that currently uses an aging presidential jet, the Fokker 70 Extended Range, abbreviated as the Fokker 70ER. Kenya's presidential jet, a Fokker 70ER, nicknamed HARAMBEE 1, has served the nation for 29 years as of 2024. While it has faithfully transported 4 of Kenya's presidents on domestic and international trips, questions linger about its age, safety, and efficiency compared to newer models used by world leaders. In addition for its use in some of the international trips, HARAMBEE 1 is also used for short flights between Nairobi and Mombasa, or between President Ruto's hometown of Eldoret or the lakeside city of Kisumu. First delivered in 1995, the Fokker 70ER is a medium-range twin-engine jet built by the Dutch company Fokker. The Fokker 70ER provides a comfortable cabin typically configured for around 26 VIP passengers. However, this is significantly less than some world leaders' jets. It has a range of approximately 4,000 kilometers, allowing the president to comfortably have regional travel around Africa or to the Middle East, but for it to have long-haul trips, it might require refueling stops. Normally, when the president is doing intercontinental travel, he uses it to Dubai, where he then boards a commercial plane from there. In comparison, Air Force One, the US presidential aircraft, is a sophisticated customized jet with a much larger passenger capacity, extended range, and advanced communication and protective systems. Since taking office in 2022, President Ruto has reportedly used HARAMBEE 1 for numerous domestic trips and a handful of international visits within Africa. The government-owned jet is registered under the Kenya Air Force and bears military aircraft insignia to identify it internationally. It has the aircraft registration code for Kenya Air Force Kilo Alpha Fox 308 plus a display of the Kenya fin flash displayed on the aircraft fin or tail. In addition to the military insignia, it also has a Republic of Kenya wording boldly displayed on the fuselage. Did you know that the Kenya Air Force also operates 3 other presidential jets that are used to transport high-profile government officials, including the Deputy President, Prime Cabinet Secretary, and other government officials or designated passengers? All military aircraft, including Harambee 1, are operated and maintained by the Presidential Transport Squadron of the Kenya Air Force that is in charge of flying the President and other VIPs. The planes are housed by the squadron either at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi, Moi Air Base Eastleigh, or one of their forward operating bases based in an airport within Kenya where the President is scheduled to travel. The death of the Chief of the Defense Forces, General Francis Ogola, in a helicopter crash on April 18, 2024, raised a series of concerns and safety-related issues within the fleet of aircraft owned and run by the Kenya Air Force. The incident has not only shaken the reputation of the Kenya Air Force, but also cast doubt on the mechanical integrity among some of the aircraft owned by the Kenya military that is arguably the best in Eastern Africa.
We are paying farewell to a four-star general who was died not in the field of combat, but through a tragic aircraft accident.
Top government leadership and the military aviation faces a problem of having a growing number of aging aircraft taking to the skies. While maintaining older jets offers economic advantages, it also presents its own problems and risks. It's within this background that we take a look at Kenya's presidential jet, Harambee 1, that is close to hitting 30 years of service. Bought in 1995 at a price of a whopping 2.75 billion shillings during President Daniel Arap Moi's tenure, the plane has served its time and could be facing retirement or getting lighter duties if word around government machinery is anything to go by.
And part of what General had planned is the modernization of equipment that is being used by our military. It is unfortunate that he passed on before we could accomplish the plan that we had. I want to commit to our military officers, men and women in uniform, like the way we are doing with the police. We now have a clear plan on how to modernize the equipment that is being used by our military, so that they can be safer and they can discharge their responsibility of securing our country better.
While chronological age doesn't really matter in aircraft, the performance of Harambee 1 matters because Dutch aircraft manufacturer Fokker is no longer operating after closing shop in 1996, which means general servicing and repairing or replacing broken parts can only be done by third-party companies. The Harambee 1 has few incidents about it reported, but it is public knowledge how at one time the then President Daniel Arap Moi was kept waiting at the airport for close to 5 hours after doors of the presidential jet jammed. It's also reported that President Uhuru Kenyatta once abandoned a foreign trip and flew back to Kenya while en route to Dubai after the jet developed mechanical problems. Kenya Air Force engineers on their part conduct regular checks and organize for sourcing of parts from third-party manufacturers. Studies have shown that airplanes more than 20 years old have a weak correlation between age and accident rates. That said, it is important to note that what really matters on the safety of aircraft is not the age of the aircraft, but how well it's been maintained. Components such as engines, wiring, structural elements, and instrumentation may experience wear, corrosion, structural fatigue, or other symptoms of aging before the aircraft reaches the end of its lifespan. These parts may need replacement or an overhaul to keep the aircraft safe as it ages. The most critical factors affecting a plane's lifespan are flight cycles and flight hours. The average passenger jet is retired at 23 years and 6 months, while a private jet that stays up to date on its maintenance can practically last for more than 50 years. The current Boeing VC-25 jets that the United States uses as Air Force One are currently aged over 30 years old and were first flown during President George Herbert Walker Bush's administration between 1989 and 1993. The U.S. presidential aircraft fleet currently consists of two Boeing VC-25 wide-body planes, which are configured as military versions of the Boeing 747-200B airliners. Now, let's go back to Harambee 1. Dutch aerospace manufacturer Fokker produced 47 examples of its Fokker 70 regional jet during the early to the mid-1990s. According to data from an aviation industry monitoring website, there are presently 20 active examples of the Fokker 70 that are left in the world. While most of the Fokker 70s currently operating are run by commercial carriers, only 3 active Fokker 70s left in the world today belong to military operators, one being Harambee 1, which has belonged to the Kenya government since entering service in 1995. Production for this specific model ceased in 1997, making Harambee 1 a true veteran of the skies. Plans for a new plane have been in the works for a while, but the Kenyan government has not yet announced any plans to replace Harambee 1. However, recent and ongoing discussions highlight the potential benefits of a safer, newer, and more fuel-efficient and technologically advanced aircraft.
At times, the military does come before the House, looking for resources to modernize equipment. And I've had many members during the budget making process criticize without knowledge the modernization of military equipment. And Honorable Speaker, probably this now offers that opportunity, that as we consider the next few years' budgets, this coming financial year and the next years, to seriously consider modernization of all our military equipment, including the aircrafts that we use, not just in the military, but also in the police, including, Honorable Speaker, the presidential jet. The presidential jet, you remember, was purchased in the early 80s or late 80s by former President Daniel Arap Moi. And probably this offers that opportunity now to reconsider all this equipment, be it aircraft and other military equipment, Honorable Speaker, towards modernizing them to the modern equipment that is safe and good for use, not just by the military, but also other government officers.
The final decision will likely be influenced by Kenya's economic situation, considering the country faces huge budgetary constraints. Buying a pre-owned private jet could be a possible option, but that also undermines the dignity of the presidency. Kenya could have a new presidential jet, but that may take a few years if the government has not yet initiated the sourcing and procurement process. Most aerospace manufacturers have long waiting lists demand from the rich around the world who keep ordering for private jets. Clients who need brand new personal jets make orders, pay their deposits, and wait for as long as 2 to 5 years, depending on customizations and market demand and supply dynamics. While Harambee 1 has been meticulously maintained by the Kenya Air Force, some argue that a newer aircraft might boast more advanced safety features and technologies for transporting the head of state. Leaders of major powers like the US utilize jets specifically designed and outfitted for maximum security and advanced communication capabilities. In Africa, the fleet of presidential planes is diverse, with some leaders of struggling countries opting to fly commercial during their foreign trips. Now, let us look at how presidents in Africa travel. The Nigerian Air Force currently maintains a Boeing business jet 737 as the primary means of transport for the President of Nigeria. The aircraft is known as Eagle One. Paul Kagame of Rwanda leases a Qatar Executive Gulfstream G650ER for his travel around the globe. Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara, for instance, reportedly has 10 airplanes in his presidential fleet. East Africa's strongman Yoweri Museveni has in his fleet the latest Gulfstream 5. On the other hand, some African leaders such as Cameroon's Paul Biya prefer to charter luxury planes. The South Sudan government currently charters planes from Rwandair and Kenya Airways for use by Salva Kiir. On their part, the Tanzanian government operates a Gulfstream G550, a Fokker F28-3000 and a Fokker 50 for use by President Samia Suluhu Hassan. But the Tanzanian president also flies the national carrier Air Tanzania. The Ethiopian government does not have a specific presidential jet and uses various aircraft from the Ethiopian Airlines for international travel. The South African president travels in a Boeing business jet abbreviated as BBJ, which is the military version of the Boeing 737 and is operated by the South African Air Force. Do you think it's time Harambee 1 is retired for the president's use? Or do you think it should be sold or decommissioned? Various operators, Kenya included, have indicated to keep their Fokker 70s in service beyond 2030. The Fokker 70 has served the country well, but its age cannot be ignored. The debate surrounding Kenya's presidential jet continues.